Hi guys, my name is Angelica and hey guys, my name is Angelica and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the time where I was 19 and pregnant. So by the time I got pregnant, it was in January of last year, so January 2019. Me and my boyfriend had been together for 3 years at the time, and I had just moved in with him and his mom out of my parents' house. We were just going through some things, so I kind of just ran away with him. And so that kind of created a lot of opportunity for you know what. And I was taking birth control pills at the time, but I had missed a couple of days, and like I thought I would be fine, but clearly I wasn't. So basically my first sign of pregnancy was missing my period. I had already had an irregular period to begin with, so missing periods was kind of like a normal thing for me, unfortunately. Like I would just miss my period and it would come back the next cycle. So once I missed it, I was like, oh, okay, like it'll just come back again, you know? So I didn't really think much of it. It wasn't until like I first threw up that I was like, oh damn, I might be pregnant. So I went to my 8 a.m. class that morning, and it was like in a newly remodeled building, so you could still smell like the paint and the drywall. So as soon as I walked in, I felt it in my stomach, and it just came out. And so luckily I was at the entrance, so there was a trash can right there, so I just like went in there, and I was so embarrassed because I feel like everybody like saw me, and like people came up to me like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. So afterwards I ended up going to Cane's, because Cane's was kind of like my comfort food at the time. Like that's where I always went, like that was my spot, you know? So I ended up going to Cane's. I go through the drive-thru, I order my food, and they like open up the window, and I just like a swift of a kitchen, like I could not deal. So I was like about to throw up, and I was like, okay, I'm fine, you know? I paid for my food, they gave me my food, and I get that feeling again, and I shoved it into the glove compartment, and I just closed it. Like the styrofoam was all squished because it didn't fit in there, but I just could not deal with the smell. It was so gross. So like Cane's was my spot, like I said. So for me to like want to throw up at the smell of Cane's, like that's basically when I knew I was pregnant. So I came out of the drive-thru, I parked immediately, I called up baby daddy at the time. Okay, at this time we weren't together because like, I don't know, I just feel like everybody in a relationship has that one point in time where just everything is like hitting you all at once, you know, everything's testing you. If it's not one thing, it's another. So that's kind of what we were going through at the time, so we decided to not be together. So it was really weird to have to call him and tell him that like I was pregnant at like such an awkward time in our relationship, you know? But yeah, so I called him, and he was like, okay, well, let's take a pregnancy test just to make sure. So I went to Target, and I don't know what I thought, but pregnancy tests were like $20+, and I was in the process of moving, so I was broke as a joke. So I was like, no. So I went to the Dollar Tree. I got 4 tests, and I got 4 because I wanted to make sure that the results were going to be consistent, because they're from the Dollar Tree, like they're hella cheap. Like I wasn't sure if they were even going to work in the first place, you know? So after that, I went to his house, and also keep in mind we weren't together, so I wasn't living with him either. So it was really weird to like have to go back to his house because I wasn't living there anymore. But whatever. So I went, took the test. I did them one at a time, and then I put them on like the sink counter, and then I like put a towel over them because I wanted to see the results all at the same time. So after like a minute or however long you're supposed to wait, I took the towel off, and they all said pregnant. I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. I was like, damn. But like at this point, like by the time I was ready to take the test, I knew I was pregnant. Like it was just so surreal to have to see it like on an actual test. Like it wasn't just me thinking I'm pregnant, like it was like the real deal. So I just wanted to cry so bad. Like I didn't even have time to like be happy about my pregnancy because I was so worried about telling my parents. Like I was so frightened. So yeah, after that I came out the bathroom, I told him, I was like, hey, definitely pregnant. And he was like, oh my god, like I'm so happy, you know? I was like, no, like I'm scared. Like I didn't, like I said, I didn't have time to be happy. I was just so worried about everything, you know? So we just talked about like, because obviously we weren't together at the time, so we just talked about like our plans, you know, what we're gonna do, who are we gonna tell, when are we gonna tell them, how are we gonna tell them. So after we were done talking about like all that stuff, I left and went home. The whole drive home I was crying. So once I like got home, I had to like clean myself up, you know? And I walked in, and it was so weird to have to like see my parents and like not tell them. But like I just wasn't ready to tell them because I was still comprehending the fact that I was even pregnant, like for real pregnant, you know. So I just like went to my room, whatever. And so we took the test that Friday. That Monday, my grandma was having like a family breakfast thing at her house. So I was like, okay, cool, I'm just gonna tell everybody at the same time, rip the band-aid, like it'll be fine. So I walk in and I'm just like, hi guys, and then I don't say anything because I'm just so scared, like I couldn't do it. So that's embarrassing. But anyways, I called my cousins like to like a different room so I could talk to them, and they were like, oh my god, you're gonna be a mom. And I was like, yeah, you guys, I'm pregnant, what am I gonna do? And so they were just like, well, just go tell everybody right now, like rip the band-aid, you know, like I said. And I was just like, okay. But then they were like, but don't you want to tell your mom and dad first? And I was like, you're definitely right. Like I was hoping like if I told everybody at the same time, it would ease the anger that I thought they would have. But I knew that like that wasn't the right thing to do. Like I should definitely tell them myself, like, you know what I mean, just let them know first. So I was like, okay. So my cousin had her girlfriend my cousin's girlfriend had her baby when she was 16, and like obviously I'm a few years off from 16, but like I'm still young, you know, like we're both young when we had our babies. So I was like, I'm gonna ask her for her advice, you know, like what she did, how she told her parents, you know, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So I called her in and like we talked about a lot of things, but long story short, she was like, just go to the pregnancy center, get an like official pregnancy test, and then maybe they can tell you how far along you are. So I was like, okay. So that's what we ended up doing. I called baby daddy again, and I was just like, hey, I'm gonna go take like a for real actual pregnancy test today, you know, do you want to come with me? And he was like, yeah, duh. And like I feel like I was the only one really awkward about us not being together, because he was super cool actually that whole time. But like I said, I had a lot going on, so I don't know. Anyways, we go to the pregnancy center, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, I just peed, and like they like did the test, whatever, and then they gave me the paper and they're like, yep, you're pregnant, which I was like, okay, yeah, I'm pregnant, like I know. And so we're leaving, we're checking out, and the lady's like, okay, I don't remember the exact amount, but it was definitely like $40+. And I was like, again, with my broke ass, I was like, that's a full tank of gas. So then she was like, okay, well, you know, most insurances cover the cost. So I was like, okay, but at the time I was on my mom's insurance. Like I don't know how that works, but I'm pretty sure she would have gotten like a receipt in the mail or a phone call or email, something, you know. So I was like, ugh, I didn't want her to find out from the insurance company, I wanted her to find out from me, you know. So I was like, okay, I just gave her the insurance information, and then I called my mom before we even left the building, and I was like, hey, keep in mind I had just moved back in with my parents, so we were still trying to like rekindle our relationship, you know. And when I moved back, she kind of gave me like this big whole talk, but like long story short, she was pregnant when she was 19, and she had like a really rough time, and like she was just telling me like, I would never want you to go through anything like that, you know, so I'm glad that you're back here focusing on you, you know. So that was like a tough conversation to have, because I basically was like, hey mom, I went against everything you told me. So yeah, that was rough. So I told her, and she was like really disappointed. She was happy but disappointed, because we were just talking about this like a couple of weeks ago, and then you know, so that was rough. But yeah, so basically at the end of the conversation, she was like, you're telling your dad tonight. I was like, I was hoping she'd be like, okay, well, tell your dad whenever you're ready, because I know that she knew that I was more terrified to tell my dad than her. So no, she was like, tell him tonight when you get home, you're telling him. So I was like, okay. So I ended up having to go to work. I came home at like midnight. I'm tiptoeing like past their bedroom, hoping that she's asleep, and I would have to wait till the morning, you know. So I walked past, she's like, and I was like, damn it. I was really hoping she would be asleep, but she was not asleep. So I walk in there, and I'm just like, hi mom, hi dad, what'd you have for lunch today? Oh, you're playing Destiny? Wow, that's such a good game, you know, just beating around the bush. And my mom's just sitting there like, tell him, come on, tell him. And I was like, okay. So again, I'm talking about destiny. And so finally he's like, you're pregnant? And I was like, yeah. And he was just like, well, you're gonna be a good mom. You know, I'm super happy for you. And I was like sitting there kind of like, what? You know, because like I was so terrified to tell him. So for him to have like a positive reaction, I really wasn't expecting that. But I'm so glad that he did, because I feel like that just made my pregnancy overall so much better, because I didn't have to worry about like any negativity or any like awkwardness between my parents. But yeah, my mom was just like, well, like, do you want to keep it? Or my dad's like, she doesn't have a choice, you know, which like I already wanted to keep my baby anyways. But he was just like, all right, let's do this, I'm ready, like, you know what I mean? So that actually went like the complete opposite direction that I thought it would, but I'm so glad that it did. And yeah, so that's basically how I told my mom and my dad. And then it was so funny because okay, so my little brother, my mom and my dad were living together, right, in one house. And so basically my little brother, oh, I had moved out and my older brother had moved out. So basically my little brother was like an only child for like maybe 5 months, maybe even 4 or 5, I don't know. But anyways, he was like an only child, you know. He had like all my parents' attention, he had all my parents' money. And so my brother ended up moving back, and 3 days later, I did not plan this, but 3 days later I moved back in. So my little brother was so mad already because we're back, you know. He thought we were out, you know. He thought he had the house to himself, but we came back. And so when I told him I was pregnant, he was like, we don't have room, for a baby. And he was just so mad because there was just one more person coming back, you know. So yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. And then my older brother, I was just like, hey, I'm pregnant, and he was like, okay, cool. And then that was that. But yeah, so speaking of my older brother, he was supposed to be the one to like know the gender for my gender reveal, because I wanted to do like a whole party, you know, like the typical gender reveal party. So he was going to be the one to know the gender. So I came home from like my doctor's appointment, right? And oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I didn't find out I was pregnant until I was 14 weeks. And my first doctor's appointment, I went in and she's doing like the ultrasound, you know, and she's like, it's just gonna be a little dot, you know, you probably won't see much. And so she goes in and like she's got like little hands, little feet, and she's like, you're a lot farther along than I thought you were. It's like, girl, me too. I was like, I didn't think I was that far along. Like 14 weeks, like that's over like 2 months, you know. So I was like, back to my brother. So I come home from my doctor's appointment where like they look at the gender, right? And so I have the envelope that says if my baby's a boy or a girl. That's so hard, that's like so weird to say because I already know she's a girl, but whatever. So I give him the envelope, right? And he reads it, and I can't tell by his reaction like if it's a boy or a girl. So I'm like, okay, maybe he can handle this, you know. So I'm like, okay, do you want to look at my ultrasound pictures? And he's like, yeah. So I show him, you know, and he's like, oh my god, look at her little feet. I was like, so it's a girl? Because he said her little feet. And he was like, oh my god, yeah, I'm so sorry. I was like, oh, like why? You knew the gender for 2 seconds and you already told me. Keep in mind, I also did not want to tell him, like, because I knew he couldn't handle it. But he was like, no, I can do it, I can handle it. So I was like, all right, fine, you know. And he spilled the beans in like 2 seconds. So my gender reveal was kind of ruined in that way, because like I really wanted to find out the gender of our baby with my boyfriend. Oh yeah, me and my boyfriend are together at this time again. So like I really wanted to find out like together, so like for me to know and then like not have to tell him, and then for us to have to open the box but like I already know what it is, you know. That was kind of weird. And like you can kind of tell from my reaction from like the video that we took that like I was like, I know already, you know. Oh, by the way, I have videos and like a couple pictures I think on my Instagram, so you guys can go check that out. But yeah, that's kind of how my gender reveal went. And then so I actually had a really good time with my gender reveal, by the way. I had a like, it was like a really good time. But my baby shower, I had such a good time at my baby shower. I unfortunately like didn't take a lot of pictures because it was like a very in the moment day, you know. Like I don't know, I just like wasn't thinking about pictures for some reason, which is weird because I'm always thinking about pictures. But yeah, so here's a couple pictures. There's not a lot, I know, I'm sorry. But yeah, I had a really good time. And we were able to spend, me and my boyfriend were able to spend our 4-year anniversary and our daughter's baby shower on the same day, because like I said before, we were going through some stuff at the beginning. So to be able to end the pregnancy on such a good note, like celebrating those two like major events for us was like super special. And yeah, that's my 19 and pregnant story. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.
Listen, J War in the kitchen.